starting with Five Nights at Freddy's,
Ooh,
an animatronic that will not be seeing its way all the way to the Oscars, but did see
unlikely.
itself breaking records.
Hmm.
Look, right off the bat, I gotta give it some respect. You were talking about two Blumhouse movies in Exorcist Believer and Five Nights at Freddy's. Exorcist Believer, you know, aside from the movies themselves, there's the box office Blumhouse, business model going on. And I thought the approach that they did with Exorcist was completely off because he spent 40 million, right, or 400
400 million on the
million
rights.
dollars
Yeah.
talking about this film. And Exorcist, I had some people in my LME talking about how, oh, that shouldn't count. It, like, they were assuming it's like buying the rights to Spider-Man, and I'm like, no one's bought the rights to Spider-Man. This would be like when Netflix gets Seinfeld. You are renting it for a short period of time. Blumhouse needs to make $400 million plus the cost of those movies. It was never going to work for Exorcist. This one's completely different. He's got this dude in his pocket, the guy who created this. He knew exactly that this wasn't going to be a movie for the movie fans. This wasn't going to be a movie for the gamers. I've been saying this is a movie for the people who watch the YouTube videos on Five Nights at Freddy's because every YouTuber who's played it is damn near in this movie. We are now in this new era, Zach, where these films are being made for you to watch online because they're meant for online people.
Hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
think about it?
I mean, you know, I went into it sort of expecting that this was going to be Blumhouse trying to give the Blumhouse treatment to a popular online IP, right? Like the
Right?
popular video game franchise. It started and it hit me with the PG-13, and I immediately kind of shifted my expectations a little bit because, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going for the full-on slasher horror bloody scares. It is a kind of introductory Blumhouse movie. This in a lot of ways feels a little bit like baby's first horror film, and like I kind of get it.
It's not bad
You
for
ever
that.
you see those like do you ever see those like creepy pastas that go around and it's like
Yeah.
who would find this scary? The people who watch this movie would find it scary because it's probably the first time they've seen a horror movie like this one.
Yeah, but there's also some creepy pastas where, like you're saying, it's not even real, like, visuals. It's just words. How are those scarier than this?
I mean, because this, I think the aim of this isn't to be scary in the sense that you and I are talking about it, but more so to be kind of like living in this world of like it's normal, but it's a little bit twisted, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's something that somebody who doesn't really know horror well or has experienced a lot of horror can kind of relate to in almost like a tangential sense because it's like, oh, it's like the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese, but they're twisted, and
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, they go on this like crazy killing spree. It's we get to hang out with them. It's like it's just sort of like a step away from like an ET movie or something like
Honestly.
that, where they find a friendly monster.
Yeah, because they also do that thing where they decided to jump ahead again for the lore people out there. And instead of setting it up like they did for the fans, I compared it a lot to the Halo series, where
Mm.
it's like I compare it to Halo, where they assumed people already knew Master Chief, so he's getting his existential crisis. Batman fans, right? We went into BVS and people did not like that movie because it's like, yo, people don't know what happened in his psyche. Why is he butt naked? Why do we have Batfleck super depressed? This movie's doing that same jump where it's just assuming that you've been following along and it
Yeah.
forgets that it's the first entry. And I think that's the biggest thing against it, as well as the scares. I do agree with you. It is very much trying to be that PG-13, almost family-friendly horror about a
Yeah.
guy who abducts kids. What'd you think of The Boy Returning? It's been a while, man.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen Josh Hutcherson on the big screen in quite a bit, and I still haven't since I saw this one at home. But um, I don't know, man. I felt like he was trying to pull a performance from like a darker, grittier film. Like he's doing a little
It
bit
was like
of
three
like
movies in one.
he's doing a little bit of like the Liam Neeson Taken Gravel.
He was in The Lovely Bones for this. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just the movie is trying to have a lot more fun than Josh Hutcherson is having fun with it.
I will say I rewatched it for the video when I was cutting it up. He
Yeah.
does have some funny lines, but it's in a dry sense of humor that the movie doesn't have. So it really is like five different tones. I believe the director, who even said that she had not played the games, was making her own movie. the guy who like runs it all. Those of you may know him. I forget what his name is. He clearly had a hand in it. Like you can't even find pictures of this dude. He's more scary than Freddy, for being honest with you. He used to be a Christian game developer. I don't know if you heard this. He used to
No.
do Christian, bro. He used to do Christian games. It was a crazy rabbit hole that I went down, and it was one of his games that had this animatronic. I guess as you try to find Jesus, that really scared people more than anything. And he like took that and he goes, okay, I'm gonna stop making Christian games, and he started making Five Nights at Freddy's games because of that animatronic that was scaring people in that one game that he had. And then the rest is history. You know, this guy has made an entire career out of this. I think there's too many cooks in the kitchen because there will be some lines that Josh Hutcherson has where he's just like, my sister doesn't care about me. She talks more to air than she talks to me. And the first time I heard it, I was like, this guy's just depressed. The second time I heard it, because I'm chopping up stuff, I found it funny, dude. There's later on, he has some bits where he's just so monotone. I'm like, if the movie was writing at that level, you would actually stand out. You also have the little sister who they like. I hate when movies do this. They have a character say she has something, but then someone's like, no, she doesn't have something. But the person who said she didn't have anything also had her in like a special school. So it's almost like they wanted to ride off of like, hey, we know what Sonic fans. We know a lot of Sonic fans are on the spectrum, and they want to kind of incorporate it into the movie.
Are you?
This was like bro, I'm just telling you what
Are
I
you
saw from
accusing
behind the
this movie
scenes.
of autistic stolen valor or something?
I thought they tried to gentrify it with this. Yeah, they tried to say this girl has something, but then they say she doesn't have something. I noticed that. Yeah, that was a weird thing to do. It's not as bad as When Evil Lurks. We'll get to that. That one did an insane autistic thing. That is a movie that, what's your boy from Gravity? You don't want Alfonso Cuarón watching that one. But then they had this actress. I spent the whole movie thinking this was your girl.
Mackenzie?
I don't know. It looked just like her.
She's got the piercing blue eyes, but
yeah, and then
not as good of an actress.
Bro, absolutely not. You have a character here who just made absolutely no sense and is a police officer. A lot of things jumbled up. I know that the fans really enjoyed this movie for what it was, and I'm happy for y'all. I think you guys are just happy that you got a movie, and I think that's cool. They said that they have a trilogy in the works for this. Are you excited to catch the second one if they don't do the Peacock deal?
I kind of have no plans to catch the second one. I recognize these are not movies made for me, and clearly there is a big fan base out there who are ready and excited for them. They can enjoy them unless they get, a bit of a different direction, or maybe an interesting filmmaker comes in. I don't know. Like I just also generally, what was that?
They had Chris Columbus.
Did they before he dropped out?
Harry Potter guy, yeah, and they had that fall apart because the creator, like, I don't know, I guess they couldn't agree with the script. So it's like to think about what we could have had before it ended up with this is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also the whole like PG-13 horror. I can't really think of many, if any, that I particularly liked. It's kind of horror with its hand with a hand tied behind its back.
Ah, that's what you gotta watch. The rated R Willy's Wonderland that came out right in the pandemic. And hey, I will say this isn't a great movie, but I had a blast with this. That is my rating from when it came out. I've been seeing y'all sneak that rating in. People have been adding it an extra star, and they come out of Five Nights at Freddy's, and the first thing they do is not even rewatch Willy's. They just went back and went, I'm sorry, Willy. I was really mean to you. And they've been adding that extra star. It's out on Tubi, so if you wanted to cleanse what was missing from Five Nights at Freddy's, it's not as slickly shot. The animatronics are definitely nowhere near the quality that they had from the Jim Henson Company for this one. But it's on Tubi. It's way more fun. It has the fun and the gore that I was expecting, or I guess I shouldn't have expected from a Five Nights at Freddy's PG-13 movie.
How would you rate Cage? Because that's also a Nick Cage movie. How cagey does he get on a scale of 1 to 10?
This is a Toronto Midnight Movie, baby. They had this thing
Full
called
cage?
the Rage. Bro, if a movie tells you that they have a thing called the Rage Cage Cam, are you not going? They would put it on him, and he would move around with it just so that he could have these freakouts. Yeah, it's so stupid though. It's really dumb, Zach. But isn't that what you want at midnight?
Yeah.
When you're also
That's what a movie like this
stupid
needs.
good time. Yeah. So Willy's Wonderland, Five Nights at Freddy's. Let us know down below. I'm working on a video for Willy's as well, and it'll be fascinating to see them go head to head because, hey, now we got a new Coke versus Pepsi going on.